Good morning, listeners. Thank you for joining me. Um, I am currently on holiday, but I wanted to make sure that I had recorded this while I was here. Isn't this beautiful? I'm going to give you all a little glimpse of what I've been. But I know y'all didn't come here for that. So before we get started, we have to do the YouTubey things. Be sure to hit the like button on this video, the notification bell so that you know when I upload new videos. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It does let YouTube know that I'm here, and we are really, really, really close to that 500 subscriber mark, and I am so excited. I really have been just blown away watching this channel grow, and it has been so exciting. But without further ado, we will continue on with chapter 2 in Hiding in Hip Hop. What would you do? The cold steel pressed against my temple. I tried not to cry, but the man with the mask on his face kept yelling at my grandmother. "I'll kill his little ass," he screamed as she lay tied up on the bed next to me. The gunman gagged her mouth with my mother's stockings that were hanging on the door. My 4-year-old body shook violently. I had never seen a gun before. The man had already taken my mother hostage in another part of the apartment. My grandmother was pleading with him with her eyes. She couldn't do anything drastic for fear he'd pull the trigger. He was erratic, he was jumpy, and kept pacing back and forth. Every word he spoke, he screamed, and I flinched every time he moved closer to me and my grandmother. I wasn't sure what he was going to do, if he was going to hit me with his fist or shoot Grandma Pearl. Every time he moved, I watched him for fear he would raise his gun and just end our lives. Every weekend, Grandma Pearl came to pick me up from my mother's apartment. It was Friday afternoon, 1972, when my grandmother knocked on the door. It startled the man who was in the bedroom raping my mother. I could hear my mother crying and pleading from my room. I was crying, hoping it would come to an end. When I heard the knock at the door, I knew it was Grandma Pearl. I cried louder, hoping that would scare the man and show my grandmother something was wrong. The man opened the door and grabbed her. He pushed Grandma Pearl into the room with me and tied her up and put the gun to my head. Once he had us under his control, he went back into the room with my mother for what seemed like a lifetime. A few hours later, the man was gone. I untied my grandmother. She grabbed me and held me close, and we ran out of the apartment together. I didn't see my mother for a long time after that. We never talked about it ever again. Hold on, y'all, my throat is dry. I had to live with Grandma Pearl. My mother was out of control. Her life was a mess. She was a heroin addict and a prostitute. And she couldn't care for any of her children. She tried, but she was not mentally or emotionally ready to raise any of us. My mother, Blanche Gerald, had 5 children, 4 boys and 1 girl: Anthony, George, Devontae, Sharita, and me. None of us had the same father, and I never knew mine. I am the oldest, and at the time of the rape, I was the only child. my mother had when she was 16. Grandma Pearl became my first superhero. She swooped in and saved me. She was invisible. I thought nothing or no one could stop her. We lived on the northwest side of Detroit in a relatively average family community. Our house was a huge tri-level. Compared to my mother's small one-bedroom apartment, this was a castle. I loved that I had so much space to run around. It was only Grandma Pearl, her husband, Mr. Charlie McGee, and me. In 1967, Mr. McGee took Grandma Pearl and her 7 children into his home. She never married either of her children's 2 fathers, but raised them alone until she met Mr. McGee. Some would have seen that as the most amazing thing for a man to do. When I came to live with them, all of Grandma Pearl's children, including my mother, had moved away, and I soon discovered why. Mr. McGee was the meanest, angriest, most hateful man I had ever laid eyes on. He was pint-sized, scrawny, bow-legged man. His left hand was permanently closed from arthritis. He had a short temper and a sailor's mouth. He didn't tolerate anything. Mr. McGee cursed at everyone and everything. If you walked into his house and didn't speak, he would say, "What the hell? You can't speak, motherfucker? Get the fuck out my house." No matter who you were, you had to speak to him when you walked into his house. And if you didn't move quick enough when he said to leave, Mr. McGee went into the bedroom and got his shotgun. "I bet your ass will get out now." Folks would haul ass getting out the door. On the rare occasions when friends came over, I had to prep them so they wouldn't get the curse you out treatment. To alleviate the drama, I rarely invited any friends over. Everyone in the neighborhood hated Mr. McGee. In the kitchen pantry, Grandma Pearl and I had shelves for our food, and Mr. McGee brought his own and kept it separate from ours, and I wasn't allowed to touch it without asking. You couldn't walk on, touch, or damn near look at the lawn. Even though the house was surrounded by a chain-linked fence, nobody was allowed anywhere in the proximity of the grass. That was his pride and joy. Mr. McGee loved his manicured lawn. No one, and I mean no one, not even me, could cut or mow the lawn. He was the only person allowed to touch it. Mr. McGee was a bitter old man. He didn't see anything good in anybody. According to him, everyone was evil and up to no good. Mr. McGee would often tell me not to let the left foot know what the right foot was doing and not to trust anybody. When people tried to reason with Mr. McGee, or if he felt threatened in any way, he would yell, "Hold on, motherfucker, just hold on." And he would run into his house, grab his shotgun, and stand on the porch like a character in the movie Walking Tall. "Come on now, motherfucker. What you got to say now?" When he and Grandma Pearl argued, Mr. McGee called her everything from a low-down, dirty dog to a trifling, no-good, shiftless son of a bitch. I couldn't bear listening to him yell at her. I hated him. He spoke to her like she was nothing, and I never understood why she didn't go toe-to-toe with him and fight back. Grandma Pearl would just stand in front of him with her petite cocoa brown frame while he ranted and raved. She always kept calm. She never raised her voice. She would often say, "You can't argue with fools. You just have to kill them with kindness." I wanted to grab Mr. McGee's shotgun and show him what it felt like to bully people. Mr. McGee never cursed, yelled, or screamed at me. I never understood why. Mr. McGee always put me on a pedestal. He and Grandma Pearl would brag and boast about me. They encouraged and pushed me. They made me feel special. I was a quiet child. There was there were no other kids around at the time, and I didn't have my brothers and sisters. When I went to school, Grandma Pearl and Mr. McGee were both at work. He worked for the Ford Motor Company until he retired a few years later, and Grandma Pearl held a job as a pharmacist assistant at the local drugstore. After school, I would go to her job, get the key, and go home alone. I had to grow up fast. Grandma Pearl and Mr. McGee were both alcoholics. They drank heavily, and I mean put it down, from E&J, Crown Royal, Hennessy, and after bringing on the alcohol, Mr. McGee would start an argument. After a while, I got used to it. After all my prayers and that he would die and go to the devil went unanswered, I came to learn that evil needed kindness in order to live. The darkness couldn't survive without the light, and Mr. McGee relied heavily on Grandma Pearl from everything. She dealt with everything related to the house. She paid the bills. When he needed someone to take him shopping, to the barbershop, or to go on hospital visits, she did it all. People only wanted to deal with her. She was the mediator. Mr. McGee needed her. He didn't hit or mistreat me. They made sure I was clothed, fed, and went to school each day. They just weren't ready to be caring for a young boy in their old age. They wanted to live out the rest of their days partying and enjoying life. Unfortunately, I wouldn't be the last child to land on the doorsteps at Grandma Pearl and Mr. McGee's house. My brother George and a host of young cousins would come to live with us. Grandma Pearl was a stickler for education, and it pleased her that my teachers liked me. They bragged about me to Grandma Pearl. They were impressed with my reading and writing skills, and she would always tell them, "Don't let anyone tell you what you can't do." I loved Grandma Pearl, and everything I did was to make her happy. My mission in life was to make her proud of me. I performed well in school, and she would compliment me. "You are special. You have a purpose." Grandma Pearl made me feel like I could accomplish anything. She encouraged me to go out and see the world. Whenever the school or church had trips out of the city, Grandma Pearl made sure I went. She wanted me to see life outside Detroit. She also made sure I did my homework and read books. We had a small library in our house, and that included a complete encyclopedia set and a book on etiquette by Amy Vanderbilt. There were also a host of black authors like James Baldwin, Ralph Edelson, Iceberg Slim, and Langston Hughes in our collection. In school, I was far more advanced than the other kids, and it brought a lot of attention I didn't like. I hated when teachers singled me out in front of my classmates. I didn't think I was any different from any other kid. I liked going outside for recess, laughing, joking, playing around, sports. But the attention from teachers brought on the attention from girls. I knew the girls liked me, but when I started receiving preferential treatment, the girls became my new interest and friends. I wasn't sure how to handle it. My aunts and uncles always joked with me about girls and who I liked and if I had a girlfriend. I hated being put on the spot with inquisitions. Being an only child for a while, I was used to being alone and no one invading my privacy. In the 5th grade, I was sent to do an errand with a female classmate, Renee. I was chosen by teachers to leave the classroom and do things around the school for them because they trusted me. While we were walking in the hall, Renee smiled. "Can I go with you?" I looked at her like she was crazy. "You are going with me." "No, I mean, can I go with you?" "You are going with me. What are you talking about?" "I mean, can I be your girlfriend and you be my boyfriend?" I looked at her and she was serious. I knew girls liked me, but she was bold. Nah, I don't want to go with you. She wasn't pretty enough. I had my eyes on another girl in my class. I played a lot of sports with the local boys in my neighborhood. There were mainly five of us: Bruce, Royce, Drew, and his brother Earl, and me. Sorry about that. Whenever the sports season was, we were outside playing it: football, basketball, baseball. We were all around the same age, but I was the tallest. I sprouted up. I drew more attention because I was tall, slim, and cute. Our crew did typical boy stuff. We would venture through the neighborhood looking for things to do. Most times, though, I was alone. I loved being by myself, reading, writing, listening to the radio, watching television without any interruption. I like to live in the fantasy world I created where my mom was a doctor and my dad was a baker, and we lived in a huge house in the suburbs. This is what I fantasize about. However, in reality, my mother came to visit me at Grandma Pearl's after being dropped off by strange men. She was dressed like a prostitute, which was little of nothing. I hated when my mother came to Grandma Pearl's looking the way she did. Everyone, our neighbors, and my friends would notice her. You couldn't miss her. I hated and loved her at the same time. My mother was absolutely beautiful, stunning. She was statuesque, standing at about 5'11", with caramel-colored skin, almond eyes, and a shape that had men tripping over themselves. She knew men fawned over her. She knew how to trap them with her words and a seductive glare and her amazing body parts. I loved when she and I were alone, when she dressed like a normal mom with jeans and a blouse that covered her breasts. She'd take me to the store or to the park, and we would laugh, talk, and just hang out. But then the men would stop her on the streets. It irritates me how the men stared, gawked, and tried to touch her. I would pull her hand and tug her so that they wouldn't have time to talk to her. My mother reminded me of the biblical story I had heard as a child about how there was these beautiful Amazonian women bathing and lounging on earth in a garden of paradise. When the angels from heaven saw them, they were taken aback by their beauty and came down from heaven, took them, and had their way with them. God was so furious that he cast the angels out of heaven and gave them over to the devil. Whenever I saw my mother, I always thought that one of the angels in heaven had seen my mother and came down and did the same to her. Other times when my mother came to Grandma Pearl's, she would casually sashay into the house as if she had just been there the day before, when all in actuality it had been weeks, sometimes months. She would go into the kitchen, grab what was cooking, go downstairs in the basement, and after a few hours emerge and go into the bathroom, locking herself in for another few hours. I hated going in the bathroom when she finished. It reeked of acidic, burning flesh. The smell of heroin stung my nostrils. They would flare from the pungent odor. I would hold my breath as I quickly relieved myself. My mother would then sit in the living room and mumble through her drug-induced stupor. She would promise me she was going to buy me something new like clothes or toys. She would ask me about school and what I had been doing. I would ramble on about how great my teachers were, how much I really liked school, and how my homework wasn't really that hard. I would always look into her eyes for a glimmer or a sign that she cared. I wanted for her to say something like, "That's good, son. I'm proud of you. I love you." But I got nothing. All I got were the many promises she never kept. As much as I always wanted to believe her, I knew she wouldn't keep her word. This pattern with my mother taught me to never trust anyone, never to trust people, because even though they will make you promises they will not follow through. To this day, I have a problem with people who make a promise to me. Maybe Mr. McGee was right when he told me, don't trust anybody. Well, that's the end of that chapter. If you have listened this far, please be sure to hit the like button on your way out, the notification bell so that you know when I upload new videos. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It would be most helpful. Thank you all. Until next time. And this probably will be my last video with this beautiful background. So let's just take it in one more time. I want to make sure when I watch this video later, I can feel like I'm right back in paradise. If you've ever come to the DR, make sure you do the Sayona Island tour. You won't regret it.